eat my blizzard that I got yesterday while we do this. All right. So if you have one word to describe the episode, Mark, we're going to start with you.
Oh, one word. Yuck. Like, that's so bad. But yuck. I can't even think of a good real word.
Gotham.
Okay, I had one word in its anticipation only because of this discussion we're gonna have right now.
Fair enough. And just full disclosure, I'm going to have you guys come back to your word and explain it a little bit more in depth once we get through all of the one words. So, Jill, what's your one word?
So, I know there's a lot more to talk about this episode, but one of my first reactions, at least for the first half of the episode, is that it was just really slow. Wow. There was just a lot of filler for like the first 15 minutes. Wow. There was just a lot of filler for like the first 15 minutes of it.
Fair enough.
You heard that, I can hear it.
One word is going to be hard.
That was a deep sigh.
Because I have so many words, but okay, so shoot. Really? Question mark.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Jessica, what would your one word be? Gotham is cracking up on mute.
He should be, because I couldn't figure out how to turn my mic back on. I almost yeeted myself. Two words, overacting. I thought it was just awful.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so we are going to expand on these words. The overacting. Sorry, I didn't give my word. So my word would be rocket. Gotham, did you get it?
Yep.
Rocket the raccoon.
Oh, I got you. I got you all right.
So this episode is so the reason why, so I have to explain this, because this is literally the episode that kind of prompted everything, right? So I was rewatching Star Trek The Next Generation just for background noise and started watching this episode, and for whatever reason it actually caught my attention, so I started like really watching it. Thank y'all for the gifts too. I like see it on the side. I'm so sorry. But I started rewatching it, and I was like doing the dishes or something, and I was like, wait a minute, and I stopped and rewound it, and I was like, has Worf been a trash panda this whole entire time? And I made a video about it. And then Daraj was like, hey, I'm rewatching it too, and we should start to rewatch. And the rest is history, right? So now here I am with all of my Holodeck Heauxs rewatching it, because this episode prompted me to start rewatching all of the episodes with a different lens, because this episode is not only very biased, there was something about it that was innately just completely disrespectful to me as a Black woman. And I feel like it could be translated into other cultures as well. But for me, watching the episode, I was like, this is some disrespectful ass shit. When I was watching it, I was like, this is wild. So yeah, that is why I would call this one Rocket, because it made me question Worf, and Worf had always been one of my favorite characters.
Oh, so we explain it.
Was that a
Oh,
ringtone?
yeah.
Is somebody getting a phone call or something?
It yelled at me. It tried to log me out. I just fixed it.
Well, one of my friends who is a big Star Trek fan that I keep trying to invite here and they never show up. We had a discussion about this episode too, and she never liked Worf because he seemed like an otaku when it came to Klingon culture. And she said he seems like he was a fan, and he was like a serious. He wasn't really a Klingon. He was just one of those posers that got all the posters, that followed the band, that simped for it, but really wasn't. And when they brought that up, I was like, I didn't realize that's what that I didn't see that perspective. I saw your perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when they brought that up, I was like, yeah, because if you think about he even says it in the episode. I was not brought up with Klingons. I was brought up, somewhere else. And so my friend said, yeah, it looks like that's what he did for the rest of the episode and the entire run. He was just trying to simp for it the best he could.
So I don't want to completely cut out everybody from the conversation, so I'm going to try not to talk a ton, but I think for me, I can almost see the otaku, except for the idea of being separated from a culture that you innately have a right to by blood, right? So Worf definitely has a right to Klingon culture. He has a right to understanding that culture because of his birth. So to me, an otaku is kind of like you take out the good parts of other cultures that you like, that you're not necessarily tied to. And then it's I'm not even gonna lie. I know probably remember 25 words of Japanese. I used to take Japanese all the time because I loved anime. But at the same time, it was let me actually try to understand this culture instead of necessarily appropriating it and just being oh no, this is what I am based on one aspect of it. And I don't think that Worf was necessarily trying to this is what I am based on the entertainment aspect of being a Klingon. To me, they could have written the story so differently. To me, I feel like he was almost drawn to it because, again, he has a right to that culture by birth, and he was drawn into the culture, but he still doesn't understand it, because no matter how you slice it, he's still disconnected from that culture because he didn't have a chance to grow up in it. But he does have a right to understand it. I think for me, what really bothered me in this, with the storytelling of it, was just for one, the way that they kind of queued it up, where it was you
Can't
have
vape
the
on
good
camera.
Klingon and the bad Klingon, and the good Klingon has to pretty much denounce everything that is a part of the culture, which didn't make any sense because the main Klingon that started all of it, that was on the ship, that was yo, give us these dudes, this was also another Klingon. So to have the juxtaposition the way that they did felt very intentional and very, we're all colorblind, if that makes sense. It felt very no, he's just gonna do the right thing, and the right thing included him completely conforming to a culture that he may have grown up in, but completely conforming to this other culture, and almost in a lot of ways denouncing the culture that he has that right to by blood.
So, can I change my word?
Yes, go for it.
Incompetent, and it has nothing to do with the Klingons. Starfleet is a paramilitary organization. Yet, Riker flagged the entire away team multiple times. The security team was They didn't pat them down. They didn't remove any devices. They didn't.
Nothing.
They didn't do anything. And then when it came down to it, a private fresh from basic training could have taken down those two Klingons. I mean, it was just like incompetent is my new word. The more sociological stuff, I'm just going to sit back and listen because I'm a little more ignorant on that. But from the combat side, God, it pisses me off watching Star Trek sometimes.
I crack up laughing all the time because they're like, we're coming under phaser fire. And then they just like freeze and just wait for it. Like, what are you doing? You had cover. You didn't see where they were. You had cover. You don't jump out in the middle of the doorway and then just stand there. Like, what are we doing?
And you don't jump out. You don't jump out fully standing up. You would come around the corner low. I mean, come on.
Low.
Christmas.
I've never had any combat training, and I know that.
I was so mad. Yeah, I do, and it bothers me.
Yes. I actually, if I ever get the time, I want to make a montage of all of the horrible fighting scenes. So Jessica, an otaku, is somebody who is like obsessed with Japanese culture by way of anime. Like, if you're an otaku, it's like they'll do things to essentially pretend that they know everything about Japanese culture, but like literally it always stems from anime, which is one very small aspect of Japanese culture. So that's what it is with an otaku.
And if I may add, for a Japanese person, it translates to a guy who just gets obsessed with the anime that he chose. So they get all the books, they watch every episode, rewatch everything, have posters, everything, cosplay. They take it to that level of interacting with that specific anime and whatever they get. Oh no, it's beyond fangirls. Like, they take it to another level.
Yeah, but it's like it's very insulting to actual Japanese people, though, because they will put on like aspects of Japanese culture that fits within the terms of that anime, which typically ends up being a bastardization of Japanese culture.
Well, at least anybody, my understanding was anybody outside of Japan, but inside Japan, that's perfectly okay, which is why they created the term. But again, I'm just going with the information I have.
I don't know what you mean. Like, you're saying, I'm saying people outside
the
of
definition.
Japan. So I'm saying, they take aspects of Japanese culture that's based in anime. Because, I mean, like, if you are Japanese, then obviously you know Japanese culture. But, like, like, that's what an otaku, like, if you're an otaku, it's not good. If you're an otaku, then you're essentially obsessive with something, but you also appropriate that same thing. Like, being an otaku is not good. As my dog goes nuts. Someone was about to say
now we all
something.
got quiet.
I know, I'm like,
I said thanks. That was me.
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear it. I just heard like a sound, and I was like, oh no. Okay, so
I keep forgetting my mic's on.
Oh, no, it's cool. Everybody expand on their word. So, Jill, would you like to expand on your word?
Not really. I didn't have a lot to add. I'm sorry.
Jill.
Mims, what you got?
So to kind of piggyback off of what you were talking about, right? My theory is that all shows and movies that are made in the United States are a way to indoctrinate us into thinking what the operative white colonialism or colonizer mindset should be. And the writers were trying to portray this idea that if you come from a different culture, you have to assimilate and become exactly what they want you to become in the United States.
And Zinga, you got a hell of an echo going on.
I do. Oh, it's gone now.
Oh, okay. It's all right. Yeah, it is gone now. Okay.
Wait, is it
nope,
still?
Yeah, but you have one now, Mark.
No, it's me.
I'm not hearing an echo from you.
Almost never hear.
Oh, now I can't hear Nzinga.
I can't hear you at all now.
Hear me now?
Yeah, we can't hear you.
You can
There you go.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, good. So yes, I'm still trying to figure out technology. But no, it was totally me. I'm about to get my other microphone. I think when they start getting a little bit low, they start echoing. But I have two, so we're gonna get the fuzzy microphone, and hopefully that's better. So to Mim's point, so I think that this is the thing that's really interesting, right? It's kind of like a chicken or the egg type deal to me, where I think, like, I don't necessarily, like, I don't think you're wrong, but I don't think that it is a concerted piece of propaganda so much as it is that you're dealing with a group of people who are already deeply biased, and it just shows up in their art. Like, that's it. It's like everything that they touch, it shows
I
up.
disagree. I think it is propaganda. I think they know exactly what they're doing. And I think they do it on purpose because they're trying to say, like, if you're, brought into the United States, regardless of whether or not you're possibly adopted or whatever, or you're born here, you bring your family here, you must assimilate and become part of this society and do exactly what they do. Otherwise, you're going to be an other, and they're going to look at you side-eyed like everybody was looking at Worf at the very end. Up on the, they were all looking at him like, are you going to take his offer? Like, how dare you? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my theory is that it's this idea, and at the when I was young and I watched this, I didn't really understand why it made me feel uncomfortable. But now that I'm older and I can kind of see things for in different perspectives, I definitely think it's a propaganda. It's this idea, if you don't conform to the standards of everybody else in the United States, you're going to be side-eyed. That's my opinion.
So I guess what I mean is, like, I think propaganda is very intentional, right? So it's like, if it puts it out, it's like, this is the intentional message that we want to give. I don't know if I can say that this is definitely intentional, because I feel like even within the episode and like in other episodes, they waffle back and forth. And when you think about like the way that Code of Honor was written, let me just go through like all of the worst 5 so far. So like Code of Honor, Justice, The Outpost, like the way that they're writing things is so oblivious to their own biases that, and I guess that's where, for me, I just think that the writers are just absolutely biased, and this is just another way that it shows up, because propaganda, like, again, I think propaganda is extremely intentional when it happens. I think that brainwashing just shows up in everything. Like, that's to me, I just feel like, at the end of the day, you're dealing with a bunch of men and one woman that were in the writing room writing something about characters that they don't know, and it's like, oh, well, we can write it this way, and then Worf chooses to do the right thing. They did not see it from this lens at all. They did not see it from the people of color lens at all. They were writing it from the lens of the colonizer. So I guess that's the thing. It's like the colonizer is just going to colonize. So they were writing it that way just because that's what they believed. They weren't necessarily trying to change my mind. Like, they weren't trying to have me watch it and be like, yeah, I need to conform. They were writing it from a colonizer mindset for other colonizers. Like, I think that's why it made certain people, why it made us uncomfortable, is because it wasn't really intended for us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you give people a much more of the benefit of the doubt than I do at this point. I think it's very intentional, and that's where I stand.
I mean, as an immigrant, this is very intentional from my point of view, because this is, to me, my cousins visiting from the home country when they see me. Oh, and they see exactly how I act great, and they ask me, "Hey, do you remember what it's like to be in the motherland or Guatemala?" And I was like, I don't remember. I was 8. I almost forgot most of this stuff, and I just grew up here. And so this does kind of feel that way. It feels like your cousin's coming over and saying, "Hey, do you like all this stuff back home?" And I'm like, "This is my home now." And they have to kind of understand that it's like, yeah, you kind of have to play by the rules here, so to speak, while still trying to find your identity, while also defending your identity. And it's very complicated. Plus, also, and as we've seen with the recent election and all that, all the fuck around and find out people, FAO people, who did one thing and now they're dealing with the consequences. And so it's like, hey, and that's the heartbreak of my culture, because it's one of those things that once they get here, they close the door behind them instead of leaving the door open so everybody can, we can all kind of join. And that's what I saw when I saw this episode.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, there's a saying that we say, for Mexico, ni de aquí, ni de allá, right? Ya te americanizaste. They you already became an American. It's like a dig.
So this is the difference of how we're seeing this, right? Because I get it now, because I've never been an immigrant. And so it's being seen from an immigrant lens of like, yeah, this is essentially a cautionary tale to assimilate or die. And for me, I'm seeing it as this is a very clear trying to like almost say like you should stop fighting for your rights as a black, like again, a Black American, where it's like, I have people in my family that were Black Panthers. Like we went through the civil rights era, we went through all of that. So I'm seeing it because I get exactly where you guys are coming from, and I'm like, this is really interesting, and maybe this is kind of the power. I mean, this is the power of art, period. It's like it's going to mean different things to different people. But hey, Jessica, can you mute yourself?
I'm sorry, you can hear that?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, thank you. It's interesting because it's like I'm hearing it, and I get why it would, like, why it feels very intentional, right? Like I totally get why it feels very intentional to you two, and I understand why it feels par for the course for me. And it's interesting because, yeah, I totally see where you're coming from, where it's like, yeah, it's a cautionary tale to essentially be a good boy, be a good American, let go of everything else. Yeah, I get that. I get where you're coming from.
Plus, and I'm trying to say this carefully because it does share some similarities with another movie, and that is Django Unchained. If you get my meaning, because of how they were looking at Worf in that discussion at the table. It's like, you're really not one of us, and you're and you're this, and I'm avoiding the phrases that would get us in trouble, but I think you understand the phrases that I'm going with. That would be and again, this is intercultural, because we as Latinos have the similar style of phrases that are just as insulting, but for a completely different perspective, because again, it's that colonizer mentality and that conquering mentality that it just affects people of color. And like you said, and it's that pressure of assimilation that, and also again, the struggle of keeping my culture and keeping what it is. And I'll be honest, I've assimilated. Is really what it is. Like, I'm wearing a baseball hat. I like baseball and all that stuff. And have I listened to any Latin music? No. I got to be honest. They tell me, "Oh, what's your favorite Latin TV show?" I have no idea. it's just, and I feel a little conflicted and guilty about that, because my culture is beautiful and wonderful. And one of the things that I saw on this app was there was a trumpeter playing Volver, and a giant crowd of Mexican people were gathering around them, and they were singing the lyrics of Volver. And I'm telling you, I would feel really bad in that crowd because I wouldn't know the lyrics. But I'm crying because it's such a beautiful gesture of singing along with this guy who's playing the trumpet, and he's playing the melody, and he's doing a great job, and they're all cheering him. But I'm sitting here going, you don't know the lyrics. You never learned them. You didn't want to listen to that song. But you can listen to Rush all day long and